Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. And the Bulls have just beaten the Lions 21 points to 13. A much better performance from the men from Johannesburg, who, had they been a bit more accurate, maybe a bit more dangerous on attack, probably should have actually got something a little bit more out of that game. The Bulls running in 3 tries. They don't leave with a bonus point, which they might be frustrated with. But overall, probably quite good to see a much closer game, because we don't want to see a scenario where the Lions are not competitive in the URC. We want all 4 of our sides to be competitive. We want all 4 of our sides to be pretty close to each other and then better than the rest, And that's kind of what we saw today. I thought the Lions looked far more motivated, far more structurally sound. A couple of very weak moments and very sloppy moments, which they'll regret. A couple of errors, which I think if you, on a different day, the ball of the bounce, you could find an extra try. I don't think the Lions were good enough to win that match, but I think that they should have gotten more out of it had they been a bit more accurate. The Bulls were very physical, like they always are. So they did very much impose themselves on the Lions. But I thought the Lions pack stood up for once. I thought that, scrum time, the Lions had the upper hand throughout pretty much the entire match. A couple of scrum penalties against them, but very rarely got dominated at scrum time. I thought Ruben Schoolman looked much better at lock, looked a bit more physical. Jaco Kriel looked at his best. But the Bulls' loose forwards, I think they're probably the most impressive on the day. Arno Botha, Albert Lowe, Marcel Coetzee, they are running machines. When they get the ball, it's just always gaining an advantage. It's always getting past that first defender. It's never ending. Marcel Coetzee looked very close to his best. Some very big carries, nice tackles, a couple of turnovers. It was just a much better game. It was a bit scrappy. There were far too many handling errors. I think we'll look at the stats, and there were too many handling errors, which resulted in too many set pieces. But it was wet, so you kind of expect that in those sort of conditions. But I found it a lot more enjoyable to watch a game which was a bit more competitive. And I'm not just saying that because obviously last week we watched my team get demolished. But it's just better to watch a game which, with a bit of a couple, which can change quite quickly. But in terms of it, the Lions actually started very well. We had 2 early penalties, and we were actually 6-0 up after about, I think it was like 8 minutes. We were 6-0 up, courtesy of the boot of Tiaan Swanepoel. I thought a big moment, though, the Bulls went over for the first try in the 24th minute as Marcel Coetzee went over, which is pretty weak. It was a tap and go. They shifted across and just went far too high in the tackle. And a strong leg drive, and then he managed to place. But I thought a big moment in the game was when the Lions turned down the opportunity to go to the corner, where they had a penalty later on in the half and decided, in the second half, and decided not to go for the corner. And almost about 5 minutes later, the Bulls then scored. And that's where the game got away from them. The try by Jan Kobel on the 38th minute, very good Moore try, meant that when you went to half time, it was sitting there at 14 points to 6. When you're thinking 14 points to 6, one try changes things. But yeah, to miss that conversion attempt, the penalty attempt in the 46th minute and then concede a try in the 48th, that was where the game was lost, because you had the opportunity to go, if you had scored, you could have gone 14-13, and then instead we missed the penalty and then suddenly we're 21-6, and that was a long way to come. But the Lions did go into the game a bit more in the last 10 minutes. I thought that Morgan O'Dear made quite a big impact when he came on at scrum time. He gave Robert Hunt quite a lot of grief. And the Lions eventually got some reward as they got their first try in the 73rd minute, courtesy of Ruben Schoolman, who I thought worked pretty well today. But it just wasn't quite enough. And then very frustrating, Tiaan Swanepoel going for an up and under as the hooter went. And then the Bulls just kicked it out and the final scoreline remained. If you look at some of the stats, it was pretty much dominated by the Bulls possession-wise. 63% possession, 66% territory, 58% territory, 63% possession, 2 tries, 2 conversions, Lions 2 penalties. The Bulls ran a lot more. They beat more defenders. They dominated the Lions in every single facet of the game. There's no doubt about that. But the Lions managed to just sort of hang in there. They had a habit of a couple of times managing of getting away from it. So, but the stats tell the story of a very dominant performance from the Bulls, which is what it was. The Bulls did dominate the Lions, but not in the fashion that they did last week. We're talking about an 8-point winning margin compared to what was like a 30-point winning margin a week ago. I think the Lions' biggest frustration is they can't protect the ball on the ground. That's where all their possessions they're losing, because after a couple, 4 or 5 phases, the Bulls were just turning over the ball far too easily. Marcel Coetzee, Bismarck du Plessis, when he came on, they were having a complete field day at the breakdown. So that's an area the Lions really need to improve. The Bulls defensively were very good. You can't really fault them. 66 of 72 tackles compared to 111 of 132 tackles, an 84% tackle rate. The Bulls winning 77 rucks compared to 33. Didn't miss a single kick, so that helps. Didn't leave any points out there. Their ruck success rate is 95% compared to the Lions, 87%. Lineouts for the Lions. I don't understand. You can't be a good side if you don't have a lineout. And once again, 75% lineout success rate compared to 100%. The Bulls are a team of accuracy. They are so accurate. They don't lose lineouts. They secure their ball. They make their tackles. They just do all the basics so well, and it makes them so effective. The Lions won all their scrums, and the Bulls actually lost 3 scrums. So the scrums were all one way, but everywhere else, the Bulls are so accurate that it becomes such a difficult side to play against. And the Lions really were their own worst enemy. 15 penalties conceded to the Bulls, 12. Pretty even there. If you look at some top performers, I thought Marcel Coetzee looked very good today. He carried the balls quite well. 6 carries he made. Turnover 1 as well. Arno Buerta carried the ball 5 times and made 6 tackles. Ulrich Lowe wasn't necessarily as we didn't see those sort of huge thumping hits and where he sort of knocked a few people down. He did have a couple of them, but he carried the ball 15 times. So he really is the primary ball carrier for the Bulls. He also made 6 tackles and won 3 turnovers. So a very good game from him. I thought Lionel Poo looked very good today. Broke the advantage line quite a few times. Didn't miss a tackle. Beat 3 defenders. 1 try assist. 1 offload. Kurt Lawrence was full of running, but far too many errors, I think, in my opinion, in his performance. Elsewhere, Jan Krobelaar was a bit quiet compared to his usual standards. Ruan Okia was silent but solid. Walt Steenkamp was pretty quiet as well. For the Lions, Carlos Sali was very good at scrum time. Didn't miss a single tackle, made 5 tackles, a couple of important tackles as well. Ruben Schoolman was immense. 14 tackles, 1 miss, 2 turnovers, 1, a try, 3 carries as well. Jaco Kriel looked much better. 11 tackles from him, not a single one missed. A turnover as well. Carried the ball quite strongly a few times. I'd like to see more from Matt Moore, which we didn't really see enough from the Lions. But it was just a better game. The Bulls, as I said, dominated as we expected them, but the Lions were a bit more competitive, which is an improvement. We just need to see that next step. For the Bulls, there's not too much to complain for. They'll be frustrated they didn't get that extra bonus point, and discipline may be costing them a few times. But generally, it was quite a Bulls performance. But let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.